Today we wanted to continue our discussion on due order from 1 Chronicles chapter 15 and verse 13. And we wanted to discuss that for just a few minutes as it pertains to the structure of the Lord's church. So again, when we're going back and we're thinking about the concept of due order, 1 Chronicles 15:13, we're referring to Uzzah's death because David had brought the Ark of the Covenant into Jerusalem on a cart pulled by oxen, instead of doing it God's way, which was to have the staves through the ringlets on the ark and carried on the shoulders of the sons of Kohath. So when we're talking about due order, we're always, at the root, we're talking about authority, doing it God's way. So is there God's way pertaining to church oversight and the structure of the church? And the answer is yes. Jesus says in Matthew 16:18, "Upon this rock I will build my church." We know that when folks obeyed the gospel in Acts chapter 2, they were added to the church, Acts 2 and verse 47. But Jesus has something to say about how he wants his church overseen. You see, it isn't up to us to decide, let's put one guy in charge of a whole congregation, or let's put a lady in charge of a congregation, or let's put a bunch of ladies in charge of a congregation, or let's have each county has its own board of directors who votes on doctrine. No. We don't have a right. We don't have the authority to do any of that. Jesus is king, Matthew 28:18, and Jesus gets to make the rules for his church. So we need to respect the fact that in Titus chapter 1 and in 1 Timothy chapter 3, we have the account of overseers of the Lord's church being qualified, willing individuals. You've got to meet the criteria that is set forth in those chapters in order to be qualified. And you have to respect the fact that God gave these qualifications for a reason. For instance, an elder can't be a novice. An elder can't be someone who is easily made angry or easily provoked. An elder needs to be someone who has raised godly children and understands the concept of his authority in that household and teaching and leading by example. So these qualifications in 1 Timothy chapter 3 and in Titus 1, those are the qualifications for overseers. But notice also in a text such as Titus 1 and verse 5, where Paul says that he left Titus in Crete that they may ordain elders in every city. There was more than one elder in each congregation. The concept of one pastor overseeing a church is not a biblical concept. The concept of a plurality, that is multiple pastors or overseers or shepherds or elders overseeing a congregation, now that is a scriptural precedent. We understand that there's also wisdom in that. Do you think it would be wise for one man to be in charge of to be overseeing a congregation? What if that man was corrupted? What if that man was led astray? Or what if he would begin to lead others astray? That's why that there are more than one elders. There are more than just one elder in a congregation, so that the godly elders can oversee the congregation. They can defeat any error that may be introduced. They can deal with things, and it's kind of a checks and balances system, and you can understand the wisdom in that. You also have the concept of a deacon or a servant, and there are qualifications that must be met in that instance also. So, far too often, the word pastor is thrown around in denominational circles, and it shouldn't be, because some folks aren't qualified to be pastors, and there is no such thing as one pastor over a congregation. Now, it's okay to disagree with these kind of things, but what we would like for you to do is we would like for you to honestly and objectively study and honestly and objectively come to the proper understanding of these things. Ask yourself, is there an example of a single pastor over a congregation in Scripture? Or is the eldership always referred to as elders, plural, a plurality? Ask yourself, are women ever seen in roles as pastors? No, absolutely not. And again, the qualifications of an elder is he must be a husband of one wife. Sorry, ladies, that doesn't include you. There's no possible way it could be. So it's okay to disagree with us, and we would encourage you that if you disagree with us, we want you to question us. We want you to study with us. We want you to ask us questions. We want you to correspond with us so that we can help you in these areas. And again, if we're deficient in some way and if we've made mistakes, please point it out to us so that we can remedy those mistakes, or else we can discuss it if we feel that we have not. The truth has nothing to hide, and we only want to help folks, right? So email us, freeportcoc@gmail.com, if you have questions. If you want to submit a topic for a video, please let us know. If we can help you in any way, we would love to try. So thank you for watching. We hope to hear from you soon.